Our secret signal saved my daughter's life. The signal is the word tomatoes. Just the word, nothing else. Texted to me, it means come get me right now. Don't call, don't text back, just come. We chose the word when my daughter Mia was 12. I sat her down at the kitchen table after dinner and said, if you are ever anywhere and you feel unsafe and you need me to come get you immediately, no questions, no judgment, text me one word. She said, what word? I said, it has to be something you would never text me in a normal conversation. She thought for 3 seconds and said, tomatoes. I would literally never text you the word tomatoes. We shook on it. She promised 2 things. She would never use it as a joke. She would never hesitate to use it if she needed to. For 2 years, the word was never sent. Then last Saturday night at 11:47 p.m., my phone buzzed on my nightstand. One notification, one word, tomatoes. My body went cold before my brain caught up. I didn't call. I didn't text back. That was the rule. I got out of bed. I put on shoes. I grabbed my keys. I drove to the address Mia had sent me earlier that evening. Brooke Calloway's house. 4 girls. Saturday sleepover. I pulled up at 12:02 a.m. 15 minutes. The house was dark except for a light in the upstairs hallway. I knocked. Brooke's mother Kim answered in a bathrobe. I said, Mia's been texting me about her stomach. I want to grab her before it gets worse. Kim walked me upstairs. 3 girls in sleeping bags on the floor, all asleep. Mia was sitting up on the far side of the room, fully dressed, shoes on, backpack on her lap. She had been waiting. She stood up when she saw me. She didn't say a word. She walked past Kim, past the sleeping girls, down the stairs, and straight to my car. She didn't speak for 5 minutes. Her left hand was gripping her right wrist the way she does when she's trying not to cry. Then she started talking. She said the girls were watching a movie around 10 p.m. Brooke's stepfather Gary came home. He was loud. She said loud the way a kid says loud when they mean something more than volume. He came upstairs around 10:30. He opened the bedroom door without knocking. He said, just checking on my girls. He walked in. He sat on the edge of Brooke's bed. He talked to them. Normal at first. Then he looked at Mia. He said, you look like someone I used to know. He reached over and touched her hair. He said, your hair is really pretty. Brooke stood up immediately. She got between Gary and the other girls. She said, Dad, we're tired. Can you go? She said it in a specific tone. Practiced. Measured. The voice of a girl who has said that sentence 100 times. Gary didn't leave. He stayed for another 10 minutes. He kept looking at Mia. When he finally left, Brooke closed the door and locked it. She sat down with her back against it. She didn't look at anyone. The other 2 girls fell asleep within 20 minutes like nothing had happened. Mia reached for her phone. She typed one word. She put on her shoes. She put everything in her backpack. She sat against the wall and waited. But that is not the part I cannot stop thinking about. Mia told me one more thing. When Gary was touching her hair, she looked at Brooke. Brooke was standing between them, her hands at her sides, her jaw tight, and Brooke looked directly at Mia and mouthed one word. She didn't say it out loud. Sorry. Mia said, Mom, she wasn't scared. She was managing him. She knew what he was doing. She's been doing this every sleepover. She puts herself between him and whoever is sleeping over, and she waits until he leaves and she locks the door. She has a system. Mia looked at me. She said, I had a signal. Brooke doesn't have one. Brooke is the signal. She is the thing standing between him and everyone else, and nobody has ever come to get her. I walked Mia inside. I put her in her bed. She fell asleep in 4 minutes. I sat at the kitchen table with 3 phone numbers in front of me. Kim, the school counselor, the CPS hotline. It was 1:14 a.m. Brooke is in that house right now. Gary is in that house right now. And a 14-year-old girl has taught herself to stand between a man and a locked door because nobody ever taught her a code word. If I call CPS and Gary finds out, the person he punishes is not going to be me. It is going to be the girl who has been running defense at her own sleepovers for God knows how long. She has been apologizing to other girls for something a grown man does in her house. She has been apologizing the way you apologize for weather. Like it's just something that happens and she's sorry you got caught in it. I texted Kim in the morning. I kept it light. I said I'd love to have Brooke over at our place next weekend. Kim wrote back, that would be amazing. Brooke never gets invited anywhere anymore. Anymore. I read that word 3 times. Why anymore? Did other parents notice something? Did other girls stop coming? I told my husband Byron everything. He said, call CPS right now. I told him I was scared, that if Gary found out he wouldn't come after us. He'd go after Brooke. That in the gap between the call and someone actually doing something, Brooke would pay for it. Byron said, every hour you wait is an hour that girl is in that house. I asked him for one day, to make sure when I made the call, it would stick. He said, one day. Tomorrow morning, we call together. That afternoon, Mia came downstairs. She looked awful. She sat at the kitchen table and said, Mom, I need to tell you something else. Brooke had told her something weeks ago. Not Saturday night. Weeks ago. Brooke told Mia that Gary comes into her room at night. Not during sleepovers. At night. When it's just the family. Brooke made Mia promise not to tell anyone. She said, if someone calls, they'll take me away and put me somewhere worse. Mia's voice cracked. She said, I used the code word because of what he did to my hair, but I should have used it for Brooke a long time ago. I put my arms around her. I told her this was not her fault. She was 14. Keeping a friend's secret when that friend begs you to is not a crime. But everything shifted. This was not a one-time thing. Brooke told Mia directly. A 14-year-old girl said a grown man comes into her bedroom at night and then begged her friend not to tell because she believed the only thing worse than staying was leaving. My plan to wait one day suddenly felt like something I was doing for myself, to feel less scared. But Brooke didn't get to wait a day. The luxury of one more day belonged to me and not to her. I called the CPS hotline. 22 minutes on hold. When the worker answered, I gave her everything. The sleepover. Gary walking in without knocking. The hair. Brooke stepping between them. The lock. And the part that mattered most. A 14-year-old told my daughter that her stepfather comes into her bedroom at night. The worker said they would open a case. I asked, how long until someone goes to the house? She said it could be 24 hours. It could be 72 hours. 3 days. Monday afternoon, Kim called. Her voice was different. Tight. She said, Gary mentioned you seemed a little off when you picked Mia up. He said you barely looked at him. Everything in me went cold. Gary noticed. At midnight, while I was trying to keep my face together and get my daughter out, Gary was watching, and he told Kim to call me. He was using her to feel out whether I knew something. I kept my voice steady. I said, I was half asleep. You know how it is at midnight. I called CPS again and told them the man I reported may be aware something is happening. happening. I called the school counselor and left an urgent message. Tuesday morning, the school counselor called back. I told her everything. She said, I'm a mandated reporter. A second report from the school often moves things faster. She said she would speak with Brooke privately that day. Then she said, don't contact Kim or Gary again. Any contact could tip them off that something bigger is happening. Tuesday evening, Gary showed up at my front door. He was holding a casserole dish with foil over the top, smiling, clean button-up shirt. He said, Kim felt bad about the stomach bug thing. Figured a home-cooked meal might help. He didn't leave. He leaned against the door frame like he was settling in. He said, I just want to clear the air. I know I can come off strong. Big personality. He laughed. A practiced laugh. He said, I think of all of Brooke's friends like my own kids. Then his eyes moved past me, over my shoulder, into the hallway. He said, Mia around? My stomach turned to ice. I said, she's doing homework. Gary nodded slowly. He said, great kid. Tell her I said hi. He walked to his car and waved from the driveway. A big friendly wave. The kind you'd see in a commercial for a neighborhood you'd want to live in. I closed the door. I turned the deadbolt. I set the casserole on the floor because I didn't want it touching anything in my kitchen. I called Byron. He said, do not open that door for him again. I called CPS a third time. I said, the man I reported just showed up at my front door unannounced and asked where my 14-year-old daughter was. Byron got home 20 minutes later. He walked the casserole to the trash can and dropped the whole thing in, dish and all. That night, Mia showed me her phone. A text from Brooke. I'm not mad at you. I'm scared. He's been really quiet tonight. That's worse than loud. The same word Mia had used Saturday night. Loud means something more than volume in that house, and quiet means something worse. I told Mia to text Brooke that people were helping. Mia said, she won't believe it. No one has ever helped before. I said, then tell her that's about to change. Wednesday morning, the CPS caseworker called. They had conducted an unannounced visit Tuesday evening. Kim was cooperative but dismissive. She said Gary was a wonderful stepfather. She said Brooke was dramatic. She said, girls that age make things up for attention. Gary was calm, polite, no physical evidence. Then the caseworker said they interviewed Brooke separately. Brooke was guarded. She said everything was fine. She said she loved her stepdad. She recited it like a script. Then the caseworker asked one question. Does your bedroom door have a lock on it? Brooke said yes. Who installed it? I did, with a screwdriver from the garage. Why? Brooke went quiet for a long time. Long enough that the caseworker almost asked again. Then Brooke said, because it didn't have one before and I needed one. The caseworker told me Brooke's answer, combined with 2 independent reports, was enough to escalate to a full investigation. Forensic interviewer. Gary not to be alone with Brooke pending investigation. That evening, Kim called, crying, shaking with rage. She said, how could you do this to my family? CPS showed up at my house. Gary is devastated. I said, Kim, your daughter installed a lock on her own bedroom door with a screwdriver. She is 14 years old. She shouldn't need to do that. Kim said, Brooke is dramatic. She always has been. I said, she wasn't being dramatic when she stood between Gary and my daughter on Saturday night. She wasn't being dramatic when she mouthed sorry to a room full of girls she was trying to protect. She has been doing your job, Kim. She has been doing it alone. Kim hung up. Brooke wasn't at school Thursday or Friday. I called the school counselor. She said she couldn't share details but asked me to trust the process. I said, is Brooke safe right now? A long pause. Then she said, she is not in that home right now. I sat down at the kitchen table and cried. Little dark circles hitting the wood one after another. That evening, Mia came downstairs holding her phone out to me. She turned the screen so I could read it. I'm at my aunt's house. They said I might stay here for a while. It's quiet here. Like actually quiet. I have my own room and nobody comes in. Below it, one more message. Tell your mom thank you. I didn't think anyone was coming. Gary has been ordered out of the home. The investigation is ongoing. Brooke is at her aunt's house. I know this is not over. There will be interviews, maybe court dates. Kim may never speak to me again, but Brooke is sleeping in a room tonight where nobody opens the door uninvited. She is sleeping in a room she does not have to lock from the inside. I keep thinking about the code word, tomatoes. A silly word chosen by a 12-year-old at a kitchen table. Brooke never had one. Brooke made herself the code word for every other girl who walked through that door. And I keep thinking about what she texted Mia. I didn't think anyone was coming. Someone came. It was not fast enough. It was not perfect. But someone came. And next time Mia sends that word, whether it is for herself or for someone like Brooke, I will come again. Every single time.